Welcome to a brand new episode of the Michele Tafoya podcast. We'd love to have you with us every episode, so hit that subscribe button no matter where you're listening. We're on Rumble, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. So just click that subscribe button. Never miss an episode. We've got a lot to cover today in a short amount of time. So let's get to it. And it really runs the gamut. But let's start. This is an interesting headline if you haven't heard. Here's the headline out of People magazine. Nicki Minaj thanks Trump, says faith is under attack in UN speech about religious violence in Nigeria. We've been talking about these Christians being murdered, slaughtered in Nigeria. Here's Nicki Minaj today in this UN speech. Roll it.
Barbs, I know you're somewhere listening. I love you so very much. You have been the ultimate light in my life and career for so long. I appreciate you, and I want to make it very clear once again that this isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice. It's about what I've always stood for my entire career, and I will continue to stand for that for the rest of my life.
You know, it's bold for anyone in the public eye, particularly a celebrity, where, you know, so much of Hollywood and the music industry and all of that, they tend to lean left of center. And for her to go into that environment was a beautiful thing to see. She is a woman of faith, and faith matters to her, and what's going on in Nigeria matters to her, as it should matter to all of us. So I didn't use the clip where she thanked President Trump, but she did. And that is a risk that people take these days. Why it's a risk? He's the president of the United States, but he is so disliked by the left that, you know, you risk a little bit of your street cred or your reputation as a liberal if you do this. But I was impressed with Nicki Minaj. I hope people understand that not only is she standing up for the right thing, so is this administration. What's going on in Nigeria should not be ignored, should be dealt with, and we should all be paying attention to it. So bravo to her. You know, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but bravo as well to Joy Reid. She is not someone I agree with 99 times out of 100. We disagree. But she's got her podcast, and she actually admitted to being on the side of women when it comes to men in women's private spaces. And I just want to roll this for you because I think this is, you know, we had Tish Hyman. We showed her last week. She's this singer rapper out of LA who got thrown out of Gold's Gym for protesting about the fact that there was a man in there who identified as trans. The man was fully intact. You know, we don't need to go into all the details, but I think that she is allowing people now to be more out front with their opinions about this. Let's roll Joy Reid.
I would be disturbed. I'm telling you, I would be alarmed. I'm alarmed enough when I see a woman with her dangling boobies. Yeah. If I saw a penis in the ladies' locker room, I would freak out too. This is just, I mean, this is nothing against trans anybody. What it's saying is if I turn around and I see a pee-pee, a penis in front of me inside of the room, yeah, I would probably go to management and say, wait a minute, why is there a naked man in this room? Because just the world we live in, just from a safety standpoint and just from a privacy standpoint, so I can see why she would have gone and reported to management. There's a man naked in the bed. Now, if they clarified and they said, well, trans, okay, but I think they should take her concerns also seriously. Because if she's uncomfortable, does she not have the right to be at least uncomfortable with this situation, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Not only does Tish Hyman have the right to be uncomfortable, any woman, all women have the right to be uncomfortable. I mean, it's, you know, this is such a recent development that we seem to think that it's just okay for everyone to see each other completely naked in public spaces. So if you want to do that, there are nude beaches you can go to. There are places you can choose to go to. But should everyone be subjected to this? it's like not your choice in California. Apparently you can go into whatever restroom you identify with. And that is dangerous. That is dangerous. Let's talk about prisons as well, because we see this continue to happen in my state of Minnesota, where I live, that these trans-identifying males, biological males, are admitted to these women's prisons. And then these women are abused by these men. This is just so flat out wrong. I don't know how we've gotten to this point of insanity, but we're here, and now we got to do something about it. All right. Insanity ensues always, every day in Washington, D.C., where on Tuesday they voted to release all the Epstein files. The House voted. But it's interesting. They've been so vociferous about this, the Democrats have. Hakeem Jeffries, all of them, so vociferous about everyone associated with Jeffrey Epstein needs to be, drawn and quartered, basically, is what they want to say. Now, it's come out because the White House did release about 50,000 pages of emails. And there's this really interesting thing that happened. A congresswoman, her name is Stacey Elizabeth Plaskett. She's an American politician, attorney, serving since 2015 as the delegate to the United States House of Representatives from the United States Virgin Islands. It's an at-large congressional seat. She's practiced law in New York and D.C. Well, she was on this committee hearing, and they have found this, and it's all been corroborated. She was texting with Jeffrey Epstein during this hearing. During a congressional hearing, she's texting with Jeffrey Epstein, trying to get input from him, a convicted sex offender, from him to tear apart Trump. Of course, that's their main mission in life. So today, Hakeem Jeffries, the House minority leader, was asked about this. Roll the tape.
Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files when one of your own, Congresswoman Plaskett, was found to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing, getting information from him, using that in her questioning during a congressional hearing, and at one point he tells her, "Good job."
This is a bipartisan effort to make sure that, consistent with what the survivors have requested, that there's full and complete transparency, and every single predator who may be in those Justice Department files doesn't escape accountability. Thanks.
Okay, that was sort of he didn't answer the question. He didn't answer the question. Why should Democrats be trusted? When you had one of your own texting with Epstein during a committee hearing. One of the texts, he said, "You look great." Whatever. The hypocrisy. See, this is one of the things that's starting to really drive me nuts, and I'm sure it does you too. And that is just the utter hypocrisy. You're terrible. No, you're terrible. And each side has its share of terribles. Could we just kind of accept everyone's got a terrible in their midst? But let's move forward on the stuff that matters. The stuff that matters. Here's something that really matters. Socialism is finding albeit a small home, a home in America, which is a free market capitalist economy. Socialism. I remember one time I was working in radio in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and a listener texted me and said, "What's wrong with socialism?" Do a little homework. It has never worked. And thank goodness for Bill Maher, because the comedian on his show, every now and then sounds super duper conservative, actually. But really, it's the left that has lurched so far to his left that now he doesn't sound like a lefty anymore. So here's what he said about socialism.
Here's capitalist South Korea at night from space. Here's socialist North Korea. Yeah. In 1990, Venezuela was wealthier than Poland. But then Poland, finally free of Soviet-style economics, went all in on capitalism. And now their economy is as big as Japan. And people there have high wages, low inflation, cars, vacations, homes. Meanwhile, Venezuela traded capitalism for Hugo Chavez's Socialism for the 21st Century, which turned out to be like socialism in the last century, or any century, a fucking mess. It turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening. Zoran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar.
Touche. Bill Maher brings it every week, whether I agree with him or not. And in this case, I do, because he's factually correct. Socialism sucks. Democrat socialism sucks. Just do a little historic research on this if you don't know already. But he just put it in a nutshell for you. He just handed you this nice little platter of why this crap doesn't work. And anyone who tries to tell you that, oh, we'll do it different this time, they're full of it and they don't know what they're talking about and they're lying to you. Now, I'm not lying to you when I talk about my friends at besthotgrill.com. And it is that time again. It's time to search for holiday gifts. And if you want like the best corporate gift for your friend, for your family member, your employee, and you want to get them a gift that's unforgettable and fantastic and most importantly hot, go to besthotgrill.com, because that would be a Solaire infrared grill from besthotgrill.com. Solaire infrared grills heat up to 1,000 degrees in just 3 minutes. They produce juicy and tasty food that is unmatched by conventional grills. It really tastes different and so good. It is perfect for today's busy lifestyle because it heats up so fast and it cools down fast. Now, the hot and fast Solaire infrared grills are the gift that will be used. You know, if you give one, it's going to get used. It's going to get appreciated. And every time your loved ones, your best clients, or your valued employees grill on their Solaire infrared grill, they will think of you and they'll thank you. All Solaire infrared grills are made in the USA. We love that. And made to last. And more importantly, Solaire infrared grills deliver the wow that everybody likes to receive as a gift. So learn more about the amazing Solaire infrared grills at besthotgrill.com. That's besthotgrill.com. Solaire infrared gift giving at besthotgrill.com. Well, we go from Bill Maher saying Zoran Mamdani is, wants to grant you wishes, but really that's Zoltar. Here's another problem with Zoran Mamdani. He is now endorsing a woman for state assembly. She is a Palestinian Arab, and someone actually said this: we have to actually run a Palestinian Arab in this race because we need to draw the fire of the Israeli lobby and we have to beat them. Those are the words of Joe Stanton. He's a political advisor to this person. Her name is Amber Kawas, and he said that to applause of a meeting of the Democrat Socialists of America. Well, let's listen to her. This is the woman that Mamdani's endorsing. Okay, this is her words about why 9/11 happened. Roll it.
And finding that, the system of capitalism and racism, and white supremacy, etc., and Islamophobia have all been used, to colonize lands, right, to take resources from other people. And so this is like a long trajectory. And we're just seeing the manifestations of that continuation, right, with 9/11. And so a lot of times when people are asking us to respond about, attack, right, if you look back, historically, right, a lot of us come from lands that were colonized, lands where wars are being waged, right, and a lot of times because of U.S. policy or the policies in Europe. And so I find that we can connect over that, but then also that The idea that we have to apologize for like a terror attack that like a couple of people did, and then there is no apologies or reparations for genocides and for slavery, etc., is something that I kind of find like reprehensible.
Okay. A couple people did it. Sounds a lot like Ilhan Omar when she said some people did something. Yeah, they took out over 3,000 innocent Americans who had nothing to do with their problems. This is the moral equivalency. It doesn't work here, kid. It doesn't work here. I'm sort of left speechless after that. But that's who Mamdani is endorsing to be in the New York Assembly. Oh, New York, God bless you. I hope you know what the hell you're doing. We often play for you Scott Jennings, our colleague here at Salem, and his appearances on CNN. Here's an interesting one. He was part of this conversation, but I really want to focus on Batya Unger-Sargon. She was talking about immigration, and what she said, I'd like you to listen to it and ask yourself, is she right? Roll it.
When Donald Trump was campaigning, he said, when we get elected, we're going to conduct the largest deportation campaign in American history. He did not say the worst of the worst.
Yeah,
and the truth is, Abby,
he did also say the worst
every illegal immigrant in America is either working, in which case they are driving down the wages in an industry because their employers can pay them less, or they are living off the government, in which case American taxpayers are paying for them to live here illegally. Both of those are unacceptable, which is why in every single poll that's come out in the last year, a majority of Americans support not deporting the worst of the worst, but deporting every single illegal migrant.
It's interesting. I'm not sure what poll she's referring to. And I do know this immigration was a massive part of the president's success and why he was elected. Now, everyone likes to say worst of the worst or differentiate, but Batya there makes a very interesting and compelling argument. I remember a friend of mine got in a cab in New York and she talked to the driver, and she later told me that the driver said he loved being in America because he was an immigrant and America was paying for everything. His kids' education, his food, his rent, everything. That's just purely anecdotal. But, if you can get enough anecdotes, you're probably going to come to some picture that is realistic. And, look, she's right about driving down wages. And in fact, someone responded to her on X by saying, so I guess you want to pay $70 for a thing of strawberries. So in other words, what you're saying when you say that, and she said, and $100,000 for a roof to be put on your house. In other words, you're saying when you respond to her in that way, that we want these people here because they're cheap labor. I mean, that's what you're saying. And again, we have limited resources. I always put it this way. If you have your house or your apartment, whatever it is, and you want to invite some people over, you have a limited amount of space and resources to accommodate those people. Why is the country any different? And if you want to go off on this, we're the richest country in the world. Yeah, but it's Americans who pay the taxes. And it's Americans who do the work. And yes, there are some wonderful immigrants here who may or may not be documented. I'm not against these people in any way, shape, or form. What I am in favor of is legal immigration. And if that process needs to be streamlined, let's streamline it. But before, I do think we all feel, and there's a story about a little girl in Idaho who was killed by an illegal immigrant driving drunk. Look, what happened during Biden was massive. And you cannot ignore it. And you have to ask yourself reasonable, intellectually honest questions about it and what it has done to your life or the lives of people that you know, what it has done to schools. Schools are being stretched thin. We want to help everyone. Of course we do. But there's a reality. There's a reality. We can't help everyone. We can't. So where do you draw the line? And that's where rules come in. All right, I'm going to finish with this one. I like to finish with something a little more uplifting. This one, listen to it. You're going to hear first from Michelle Obama. And I don't know the name of this young lady who's speaking. I found this on X today. She was posting this, I think, somewhere else. But someone grabbed it and posted it on X because this young lady has standing to talk back to Michelle Obama. I think you'll know what I mean when you see this. If you're hearing it, Michelle Obama is talking she's complaining a lot about what white people demand of black women. The woman that responds to her, if you're not seeing this, is a black woman, a young black woman, I'd say in her early 20s. Roll the tape.
A lot of people want to know, well, what do braids mean? What does she mean? Look, y'all.
What does she mean? It's
what,
great.
you know, I mean, that's how white folks are. It's like, what does that mean? What are you saying? We're saying nothing except I just don't want to have to do my hair every day. And I want to go swimming. I don't want to have to worry about it. Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all.
Michelle, respectfully, no one cares. No white person is obsessing over your hair and what you do with it. This is the race divide that is currently existing. Mind you, this is the prior First Lady of the United States, dividing America based on race. No one cares. Stop blaming white people for all of your problems, okay? This victimhood that you're creating, it's mind-boggling, truly. If you want your hair straight, then so be it. If you don't blame white people for having straight hair. The reason that people can't swim, maybe that's because there weren't enough fathers in the home. I don't know. You're blaming a perm as the reason that black people don't go to the gym. No, maybe because it's laziness. This lack of accountability is just beyond me, truly. Just take responsibility. If you want straight hair, then have straight hair. You're a grown adult woman. But to sit here and say, dear white people, you're the reason for my problems, your hair? What are you talking about? You have time and money. You're on a book tour. If you want natural hair to go swimming and go to the gym, then wear your natural hair that the Lord gave you. But don't sit here and say, white people, stop asking us questions. Maybe people are asking questions because they're genuinely curious. Stop taking offense when someone asks a question and they don't know the answer. You're perpetuating the reason that a lot of white people don't even go up to black people and compliment them because they're going to get judged. I've never seen people more obsessed with race than liberals. White people don't even have naturally straight hair, all of them. Many of them have curly hair, many of them have wavy hair. And why only white people? There's Asian, there's Native American, there's so many other races. Why are you picking out white people? Stop creating this racial divide.
I love her. I love her. I want to track her down so that she can come on the podcast. I love her. That's called intellectual honesty, folks. And she also personified our saying here that we end every podcast with, which is be brave and do good. And she did both. And we will see you next time. You can keep up with the Trump administration when you subscribe to the Trump Report. It's an email that brings you daily highlights from the Oval Office right to your inbox 5 days a week. Subscribe today at SalemPodcastNetwork.com/Trump.